Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be talking about what is left of the storminess in the United States, but we do have another storm coming up after the weekend is all said and done. 2 days of severe weather that's now being indicated by the Storm Prediction Center, and then even another storm coming up after that, and then potentially back to the nor'easter pattern that we were in January. We're going to be talking about all of those things within this video. Anyways, before I get into this video, be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. For today's comment of the day, I want to know, do you think that we will get back into the nor'easter pattern that we were in January after all of these storms are said and done? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Let's get straight into this video, and we're a lot quieter here on the radar. We have a little bit of storminess down here in southern Texas. We have a little bit of storminess here in Florida, which is both of those things are pretty typical. And then we have some snow showers kind of going on up here for the upper Midwest. Some lake effect for the Great Lakes, also very normal. And then throughout the day today, I expect that this region could have some snow squalls going on. We have a lot of these snow showers passing through, bringing very heavy snowfall, briefly very heavy snowfall, and very windy conditions, again, very, very briefly for all of these things. So we're going to be watching for those impacts throughout the day today. We'll watch that on the model guidance also. So let's just zoom into some of these individual regions real quickly. We'll start up here with some of this snowfall, and we can see some of this diving down into North Dakota, portions of Montana as well. This is generally lighter snowfall, so I don't expect any accumulation with this at all, but this would be, you know, potentially you would be feeling this on the surface, obviously, so it is worth noting. Now let's move down to Texas, actually, where we have had some of those lighter showers going on. At times it looked like these were going to be some thunderstorms down here, but those really never amounted to too much, so you might wake up to a sprinkle, but really nothing worth noting too badly. We do have these showers kind of moving across Florida. This is, again, something that is fairly typical, and later in the night we had further north here, another line of those. Some of these might have been thunderstorms up here. It wouldn't surprise me, or might be developing into thunderstorms, but most of these thunderstorms, as you can see, are kind of offshore. We see the lightning happening over there, so we're being spared from that a little bit. There's a lot of lightning being indicated throughout this region, so I'm guessing that's the cold front that is now well offshore, which is super interesting. Obviously, we can't get radar imagery for that. Now, there is some lake effect, like I mentioned, for a couple regions up here for the Upper Peninsula. This region has just been getting slammed by some lake effect snowfall. We also see the northern tip there of the Southern Peninsula. And then we see some lingering lake effect trying to take place here in southern Michigan as well. So we have multiple different regions here, 1, 2, 3, with some lake effect snowfall going on. Now, we also have these snow squalls that are worth noting, and as of now, they're definitely establishing themselves throughout Ohio, a bit of West Virginia potentially, Pennsylvania, and then New York there, northern New York, and then western New York as well. And these are just going to be moving further eastward. Obviously, as the day warms up, we might see that switch to some rainfall, but for now, while it's 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., we should see this be mostly snowfall as it progresses eastward. All right, now, like I said, there's not much going on right now, so what we're going to do is we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about the model guidance, and then we're going to break down the Storm Prediction Center's prediction as well for 2 days of severe weather, Monday and Tuesday, where we need to talk about both of those individual dates as well, so there's a lot coming up. All right, now here we are taking a look at our European model. Let's just move on to where we're actually at right now. We're probably about here, so we see these snow squalls up here. That is what's taking place as our jet stream looks about like this. So we're seeing this January type jet stream because this is really what we were dealing with in January, where you had a lot of this southern flow heading in from the south into the west, and then this northern flow heading into the eastern United States. And this leads towards very cold air in the east. So that's what we're seeing here. That's what's allowing for these snow squalls to take place. That's the overall pattern. Now, we do see that those snow squalls, like I said, do reach the coast, so we do see all these regions see some of that snow throughout the day today. This is by time we're reaching the afternoon, so we might be talking about all of New England, a lot of the Northeast, and they could be down here in the Mid-Atlantic as well, but it seems like the further north you go, the higher the chance of precipitation is throughout the day today. Then what we see happen, because remember, okay, our jet stream's like this, and then watch as I continue this on. We're going to see this completely flip. right? So now, where it was like this, now it is where basically, what color should I do here? Red, probably. So now it's looking like the red line. So it looks the complete opposite, obviously, here. By time we're reaching, that's Tuesday. So I'm going to switch back to yellow here. Let's go ahead and continue this on. Basically, we're seeing snowfall take place up here by the time we're reaching later in the day tomorrow on Sunday during the afternoon. And then we basically see this dive down into portions of the Rockies, even a little bit of an extension here in some of the upper Midwest as well. And this is our first day of severe weather also here, where we see this southern flow. This is mostly just a warm sector severe weather event, which basically means there's not a front coming through yet. This is just straight up storms coming in from the Gulf, and they could have some severe weather impacts as they head up into this region. So we'll take a look at the Storm Prediction Center a little bit later on, like I mentioned. And what we're going to see happen is this storm does develop, though, for the next day, for Tuesday, as we reach Tuesday. And this will have a cold front underneath it. So this warm sector will still be here day 2 on Tuesday. And then that cold front's going to smash through. And this is exactly what we saw during our severe weather threat, this previous one. That didn't amount to too much, which is really good news, obviously. Also to the north, we're having a snowstorm again and an ice storm again. This one's a little bit more north-based than our most previous storm, but it is quite similar, especially this and then this cold front underneath here, and then we have a warm front about right there. So this is just a classic setup. Warm air shoving its way up the East Coast, cold air trying to work its way in from behind, and that's what just causes all of this instability. And again, we do reach a point where we do potentially see some thunderstorms in the East Coast, where we did see a lot of those actually for North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee, but nowhere north of there, I don't think. Now, by the time we're reaching Wednesday, well, let's backtrack a little bit, okay? So as this storm's up here, we're kind of distracted, but there is another storm making its way in. So we see this is storm number 2, and then this is storm number 1 up here. So storm 1's eating up all our attention here. We're just paying attention to the storm number 1 because, oh my gosh, look at it. But then we have this little minor storm that's starting out just like storm 1 did. And then we see this one really get its act together once it's down here. It really starts to build in just like storm 1 did. That's now gone. Storm 1 is gone. It's up in Canada and probably out to sea by this point. And take a look at this. You see the warm air is still kind of winning out here. So this leads me to believe that the severe weather threat will still be there for storm number 2 now. The jet stream's about like this. So we see this warm air really fighting that cold air back, pushing it back now. Storm 1 was not able to fully move through with that cold front. And still, I would say there's probably a stationary front somewhere right there where that cold front kind of just stalled out. That's what it looks like happened to me. And then it eventually kind of becomes a warm front where that warm air begins to win, and then it shoves its way further north. But we see this ice in between, so the pink. There we see snow to the north, and this low pressure system never ends up being quite as strong. But I think around this time, this one might be a little bit more of a southeast severe weather threat, but our low pressure system is probably somewhere right here. Cold front coming down like this, and again we see the warm front like this. But that cold front looks pretty vicious here. We see a lot of precipitation developing around that. And I do want to confirm here by looking at our Cape. So there is some, but this is quite limited. Maybe the day before does have a little bit more potential. There's just not a lot around, but this could be a big rainy event, and Cape could trend up. We could see more of that Cape, but on the surface, this does look like it has some potential to be a severe weather threat, maybe a wind-driven one. But the Cape is quite limited at this time. Now, we do have wintry weather to the north with this one as well, and it actually is around for a lot of New England, the Northeast. This one's a lot more southern-based. And then something interesting happens after this. We see the trough move back towards the east. Jet stream's about like this right now. But watch what happens. You see this down here? This is storm number 3, and this one is a nor'easter that tries to develop as we get a huge trough. This one's actually kind of tilted like that, which is really weird, and that would probably lead towards this storm being more of an inland one, in my opinion. If it was to play out like this, this is very long range. But this model likes to keep it out to sea. Maybe the trough is just strong enough to really force it out to sea and keep it away. But we see that it moves in would say it moves in quite a bit like this. And it stays too far offshore, but this, general setup, we talked about this all winter. If it does trend west, this does give this area some potential at a snowstorm later on in the pattern. By later on, I mean the very end of February. So we're going to be watching for the 28th through March 1st for a potential nor'easter. And then by the end of this model run, we're left with a pattern like this. So that leaves a lot of question marks. But we need to keep watching these models daily. So stay tuned with us. Keep coming back to the videos because we're going to keep talking about the upcoming pattern every single morning, obviously. So subscribe to get the latest updates. Let's go ahead and look at the Storm Prediction Center's outlook, shall we? Now here's your day 3 outlook. We have a general thunderstorm risk here in the lighter green, which means probably no severe weather, but it is still possible. But they don't really expect it. They do expect thunderstorms to be possible, though. Here in the darker green, we do expect severe weather to be possible, but it's going to be quite isolated within that region, likely. And then in this yellow region, we have a slight risk, which indicates probably some scattered severe weather will be happening in there. A little bit higher risk in that area for Texas, Oklahoma, and for Arkansas as well. Now, it doesn't end there. That's going to be Monday, by the way. So day 3, Monday, and that's going to be the 21st. And then we see Tuesday here as well. This is going to be Tuesday the 22nd. We have a 15% chance of severe weather here for this region the very day after Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Arkansas. So a couple more states involved here. And usually this 15% chance indicates about a slight risk. So it should be quite similar risk to the day before it on Monday. So we will watch this and see how it plays out, but it is looking likely that this will occur. Again, these are all carbon copies of each other, these storms. They're basically just happening exactly like the one before it as we're kind of trapped in this cycle. We talked about that as the real storm number 1 was happening that has now moved out. Now this is storm number 2 from that perspective. And then eventually storm number 3 will be on the way, where we need to really watch and see if severe weather will happen with storm number 3 as well. Very, very interesting stuff, guys. For today's confidence tab, we remain at a 4 out of 6 because we've just been talking about so many long-range things. We've been talking about things, all the way at the end of the model run, but we've also been talking about things at the very, very beginning a lot. So that brings me to about a medium or a 4 out of 6. For today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, what do you think happens after storm number 3, which is that third storm that looks similar? In this video, I called it storm number 2. But basically right before that nor'easter pattern sets back in. And Kay Graham said, after Storm 3 passes, then we get into March madness. And the madness doesn't only pertain to basketball, but weather as well. So I don't see any signs that tell me it'll be quiet or it'll be very, very active after that is all said and done. That is the long range, but it is interesting to see somebody very confident in it being an active pattern. So we will wait and see. For today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons, Bill Crates, James Wade, Dovey Nagel, Larry the Pan, Mandy Birchfield, Patrick Strickland, Dave Scott, and Donna Carnes as well. I would also like to thank our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Kudalasa, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Bill Dallas, Gary's, and John Khaleesi also. I would also like to thank our channel members, Catbite, Stephen Fan, and Jeremy Cox as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.